Hey guys, today we're going to be looking at something a little different. It is a ON3 model, so that's O scale 3-foot narrow gauge, not ON30 like the Bachmann. This is true 3-foot narrow gauge and O scale. What we're looking at is a Denver and Rio Grande C-21 locomotive. It is a 280. The Rio Grande was really easy. It was C was consolidation, K was Mikado, T was 10-wheeler. So pretty simple. These were the second largest. These had, and the 21 stands for the 21,000 pounds of tractive effort. Now the C-21 and the C-25 were the two outside frame 280s. And this particular one is a Balboa model. Now it is nowhere near stock. The original Balboa models were kind of early mid 60s to late 60s, and they were good runners. They were built well. They were just not well detailed. So this one was completely redetailed by Kelly Morris, and it was redone, and then painted. And the biggest thing is the cab roof is removable. So you can see there, it's all removable and everything. So pretty cool. And yeah, so you can see it's a beautiful weathering job. Now I know this is a bit different than what I normally do because I normally do HO. So ON3 is a bit different, but it's not crazy different because if you want O scale with this, like, if you have C19s, like if you have consolidations and shays, these will take 30-inch radius curves, so you can have like the detail of O scale without having to have the full O scale room. So you can see ON3 is very close to HO, so it's really not super far off, but it's far enough to make a difference. So this one, the entire cab detail was changed. You can see it's very heavily weathered. Now these were I don't remember who originally owned this, but I'll get into that in a little bit. But you can just see how detailed and how nice this thing works. It does have a TCS wow sound with a speaker in the engine and in the tender. It already had lights and stuff when I put the decoder in, so I didn't change that because it's not really worth going through all that effort, especially because it's painted. Trying to change all that stuff after the fact is really hard. So, hope you guys enjoy the video. Built in 1900 by the Burnham, Williams & Company for the Crystal River Narrow Gauge Railway as 101 and 102, they were just classed 101 as there was no class designation at that time. They were later then, in 1916, reclassed as class 93 as 430 and 431 on the Rio Grande. Denver and Rio Grande. Then later, they were reclassed again as C-21 by the Denver and Rio Grande Western, and then that's what stuck with 360 and 361. They had Stevenson valve gear, had the tender and the engine combined with 142,000 pounds, and they had 21,000 pounds of tractive effort. 360 was later scrapped and served up until 1950 when it was scrapped, and then 361 was scrapped in 1951, so they were all scrapped relatively early for the Rio Grande.